Hey, I'm Kev Mr. Khan. Welcome back to MXGP Pro as we're moving up for the second moto here in Latvia. Let's get underway. And we get another decent start on the outside. But this time we're just going to stick to the outside. And like the first race, as Patriel gets the whole shot on his Yamaha. And Hillman is almost into the top 10. Goes down the inside of bogies. Up into Sif as Asvana got boxed out on the outside, and one's going wide in front. Here was Olsen, he got boxed out, and he's down. He's the Norwegian. So we've got the Italian fighting back against Hillman. Hillman holds on in Sif. He's got a box view of the top 5 this time. Doesn't have to fight his way up there. Like in the first race, he gets down the inside of, is that the home hero? Jonas dumped down to 5th. As Hillman takes a very wide line but gets a superb run on the race 1 winner Prado. Instead it's a Yamaha 1-2, is it? We've got Pacho, no, it's Seaworth holding on in his Suzuki. In the lead, Covington down to 6th, Hillman up to 2nd, going for the lead. This opening race all gets into Seaworth, we saw that in the opening race. But much slower down the order. As we approach the end of the first round to see this track. Bit rutted in, so amazingly, despite it still raining, it dried up in between the races. It's incredible how that happened. Oh, and Hillman gets hit by Prado in the final corner. So they'll see where to get away as you go on to the second lap, first lap proper. It's the KTM and the Kawasaki elbow to elbow, but it's the Suzuki leading. It's Prado back by Izzy into second. It's a fantastic battle between the veteran, one of the young stars, the motocross Prado, Spaniard, and the KTM. He's got bogies in 6th. But Covington right behind Hillman now, so Jonas is down all the way down to 5th now, at least. As the top 2 getting away, but Hillman right where he wants to be, and look how much rain has fallen. In and out. Look how wet this track has gotten in and out compared to the open lap. That is one of the curiosities about this game, like, is how this track kind of wets up and the surface doesn't really change at all. Thought about that previously, of course, but it's just visual. But it does make it a bit slippier, let's say, in these sections. With the traction zones, as all Prado makes a mistake over that first jump. Then when coming with the momentum then, 4 seconds. Almost into the back of Prado again. Through the left hander. Oh, gets into. Okay, but holds on. As I said, despite causing some traction issues, oh, Prado takes the outside though. I haven't seen that much. Right on the back of Siwa now. Let's approach the end of the second lap. Going to the third lap. Yeah, despite it causing these traction issues with the puddles and everything, doesn't actually lose that time. It's amazing how that works. That's a 50.4 then on the Siwa. Let's go through the right hand, and I think Hillman's just content to sit here the remainder of this third as someone really breaks through. His Patrick, after that electric start, getting a whole shot. Down to 6th now for the French on his Yamaha. Oh, and here goes Covington down the inside of Hillman. They're not battling for the win, at least at the moment. Battling for a podium spot, but they're elbow to elbow again, the old rivals this season. Hillman looking to the outside move. Is he through the left hander? We've seen the inside move, not the outside move a lot, and it's worked, has it? He's held it in third. Fantastic from Hillman. As he go into the right hander. You can see Prado stuck onto the tailpipe of Siwa. And I'm not able to make a move yet, the Spaniard. He just biding time and just can't find the gap. There's all Siwa down for the lead, and Prado. No, it's Jonas. It's not Prado. It's the home hero. So now Covington and Hillman are battling for the lead. I just jinxed the front too, didn't I? There's all Hillman take a very wide line there. Wide up against the bank, but it works out. So it's Hillman and Covington 1-2 in the second moto again. Just like in the Netherlands, just like in Italy. Just like we saw in Argentina, I think, as well. Getting all the races done now. There's Thailand, there's Indonesia. Just incredible how these two just attached to the hip this season. So just exiting the first third of it and beginning this European season proper. It's going to be fascinating to see if they are still stuck together as the season goes on. So I went a bit wide there. Oh, he's endoing. Endoing. Don't see that often. So he's lost the lead to Covington. He somehow stayed upright though, did Hillman. Obviously missed his old buddy as I was reminiscing there about their previous encounters. Go for the left hand. There's a little look at Asvarna. Doesn't find the gap. Oh, Covington not with the best landing. He's got Siwa down to 6th now. Oh, and Covington just blocking Hillman. Even into the right hander where he often makes moves. Covington got the space. Closing it off from Hillman. Here we are, elbow to elbow once again. This could be another fascinating 23 minutes. Plus 2 laps remaining. He's kind of just covering that inside. Hillman looking to the outside everywhere. It's just not working though, is it? He approaches the left hander right up against that bank again. Oh, he does the switch back, trying to get the traction out of the corner. Is he ahead of Covington as he goes through the wide line? No, Covington does the jump, then kind of takes the space from Hillman as Hillman tries to find a gap past the American. He knows how tough that is. Covington holds on and fights for another day as he does the fastest lap as well. 50 flat. So at the end of this opening third, for Hillman it's just to be in the top 5. And look at that lead battle. Then you saw Siwa and Prado take each other out. In the top 2 places. Now it's battling for the win with Covington. Again. We've got Siwa down in 6th still. Not Prado, it's Jonas. I keep thinking it's Prado, but it's Jonas, the homie hero, who's crashing out a 2nd. But he is still right up there. He's definitely got the pace, Jonas. Definitely have better pace than Siwa. He's just bottled behind the Swiss rider. There's not, again, not the best jump from Covington. That is Hillman's main strength against his opponents, these jumps. Landing them, just being very confident over the jumps and in the air compared to everyone else. And look at this run he's launched into the right hand. They're trying to do a cut back. Has he found the gap? I think he has. Is he ahead of Covington? As they go side by side through the left hander. I think Hillman's finally done it. Again. And got the inside line, but Hillman got the space, got the run. Now can dictate that line to Covington, can take away that inside line. Let's go for the left hander. Now let's see if Hillman can reel off these 47s he did in that opening race. Now that he's in the lead again. To go through the right, then the left. Got to be so careful over that left hander. But there's a 49.5. There's the beginning for Hillman. He's approached the end of this opening third of the race. Once again in the second moto, Hillman just carrying off from where he left off in the first one. But he's going for the overall as well. So he got 18 points in the first race. Prado, 25 of course. There's all the Italians in 6th now. On his Honda. So if Hillman gets the win, that's 43 points. Prado, of course, has to finish 4th or better. Try and stay in overall contention. But I don't think anyone else can beat him apart from Olsen if Hillman wins. And Prado's lower than 4th. Because Olsen finished 2nd in that first race, so he needs to finish 2nd again. But that's unlikely after that first lap mishap he had. So it's a straight fight between Hillman and Prado, it looks like, for the overall victory. We don't know who's in that final podium spot, if it is Prado, if it's Jonas, if it's Patriel. Quite a few contenders there, if it's Olsen maybe, in the recovery trail. Hillman's now pulling away from Covington. He's very confident heading into this middle third of the race where he came alive in that opening moto. Pulled off the passing moves, started to find his pace and rhythm. Well, he's definitely found it from the off in this second race though. As we go into this left-hander. And there's the 47 immediately, 47.4. Not quite the 47 one he did in that first race on the final lap. But he's already up with that pace already. And that's not good for the rest. That's not good for Covington if he wants to win this second moto. Take advantage of the issues for Jonas on home turf, the curse of home turf as well. So quite a few riders. Of course, Hillman can't suffer that as they don't go to Macau. Maybe they need to do that, cover the old Macau street circuit with some mud. And then make the moto out of it. On the streets. I'm sure that won't be highly dangerous at all and probably shouldn't happen at all. But then they do it with motorbikes as well. You've got the Macau Grand Prix. The motorcycle riders. You can get some motocross riders there as well, surely. Get some motocross action going. Let's go for the left hand and look at that back end. It always looks like he's out of control slightly, but he's definitely in control. Even when you see that back end sliding. Just more showing off for the fans, isn't he? He's got the Italian still in sixth. Impressive run again for him. He's top 10 in the opening race, if I remember correctly. Almost thinking of the other Honda Japanese rider who was 11th. It was right at the back in Indonesia as well. He was backed by a country while making mistakes left, right and centre, so he showed a fantastic improvement in wet weather form as well, just like Hillman. He drops back into the 49s. He's had his lap to get away from everyone, Hillman. Now he's just going to drop back at that time wise. His middle third. That's the point of this middle third, to get a gap to Covington. In case anything happens when he's got that traffic maybe in the final third of the race. And we saw none of that traffic in that opening race. Everyone finished on the opening lap. Because it was very close between the top four there. 5 seconds covering them. At least the top four before Hillman was there. It was just a couple of seconds. As in this side, we've got KTM on the tail of Covington for second. And there's that Prado, there's that Jonas. To decide where the overall goes for this meeting. Because if it's Prado, Hillman can't get it. The overall, even if he's winning like this, as Patriel's up to sixth or down to sixth. Let's go into that hairpin. Definitely favourite corner on this circuit. That raised bank, you can really chuck the bike at the corner. Of course, you've got to be careful not to do it too much though. If you're on the other side of that banking, it's not a fun place to be. Sitting in the final corner as well with that massive rut in the middle. Don't want to be the other side of it. Just be struggling for traction, trying to get the bike round, and oh, struggling to go down like that. Hillman down. What the hell's going on? The bike's just going sideways everywhere. We thought we might have a first race without any accidents for Hillman. Couldn't resist at the halfway mark. Might have been the longest he survived actually in a race without an accident. But he does a 52 and now he's got to get back into that 47 pace. He's just cruising a bit too much there, Hillman. Well, the bike was acting strangely though. Very sideways going in, which you expect, but it just wasn't coming back. It just stayed out there. So when you tried to get on the power, just could not recover it. As you can see, he's trying to chuck the bike into every corner now. Is the rear overheated maybe a bit? I wouldn't have thought so in these weather conditions, with it being wet everywhere. Yeah, just a moment of madness for him, but he's still got a solid gap in the lead. Just got to keep on his toes, so it's a good reminder for him. We've got Patriot still in 6th. I'd like to know much better what the top 5's like, not just who's in 6th. Because you know it's Covington in 2nd, it's a KTM in 3rd. Is it a KTM in 4th? Or is it Olsen? Or is it the Italian maybe, even on the Honda? Having a fantastic outing. Honda definitely got a bike for wet conditions. Seems like. Well, for the Frenchman, he got the whole shot. He was quickly shuffled down that open out, wasn't he? You can see much more in a straight line there for him compared to the previous to that. He just caught some of that loose dirt on the outside. As well, he clips a bit of the inside barrier there in the penultimate corner. And still remembering that barriers are your friends. He does a 50, that's not a very promising lap. After that 52. We're just suffering with some pace issues around the halfway mark of this race here. I'm a bit comfortable in the lead. Just not pushing that hard, maybe just maintaining that gap. After that fall, he's just a bit taking a few laps to get back into that rhythm. Go past his pit crew. That's a bit of a cheeky line into the hairpin, and all the KTMs are together behind Covington. So it's Prado and Jonas in 3rd and 4th, behind the Husqvarna. Schoenkraut will be urging their man on to get onto that podium after missing out so cruelly in the first race. Being so close as well. Pace-wise probably should have won the race, pace-wise. Jonas looked very strong. Very good to say same about Hillman as well. He left his comeback a couple of laps too late. After that poor first third, but it was toe opposite this time. Stuck to the outside of the line, away from everyone else, and it worked out beautifully for Hillman at opening that. And then since then, a little bit of a fight with Covington, with Siwa, with Jonas. I think it's getting past Covington again. It's been all Hillman at the front. Just that slight mistake a couple of laps ago, and he's been told to reset. So that's his second mistake. It's another 52. And he's not comfortable in the lead, Hillman. He's making stupid mistakes. Like, he shouldn't have fallen previously. He shouldn't be told to cut the inside and pick his bike up like that. He knows better than that. And that's maybe why we'd never see a whole race where he's not going to make a mistake, because he just loses concentration like this, like an absolute pleb. As he approached the final third of the race, from where he should be, but not in a good place. Not riding well at all. Been pretty poor these last few laps. In the 50s, when he, as you can see, he can do 47s. Since he's done that 47, he's been horrible at that time, right? Not consistent at all, been stuck in the 50s, been making the odd mistake. This has not been the third that Hillman needed or wanted. Wants to be well down the road from the chasing pack. Instead, you can barely hear them in the background now. They're only a couple seconds back at most. Go over the jumps. Crowd still very enthusiastic, waving their flags. Not as much Fate Nation round it. Not many flares going on. But then it is wet as well. Maybe dampens those clouds as well. Going to the final couple of corners. Hillman With a third of the race remaining. Leads ahead of Covington. Gets back into the 40s finally. 49, mid 49. Still a couple of seconds off where he should be, but it's an improvement. And you've got the KTMs. We don't know who's in 5th. It might be Olsen. It's not Patriel. Unfortunately, a Frenchman stuck in 6th on his Yamaha. It could be the Honda. So the Italian. And Olsen trying to recover after a first lap mishap, being stuck on the outside. We're looking to the left, can't quite see who's in 5th. What is that, Hillman? He just launched himself over that jump. We know he's confident over the jumps. That was a bit too much though. That's one Monster Energy Supercross then. MXGP there, or MX2. They're under 9 minutes remaining, so we've got to think that time wise. How long has Hillman got till he sees that checkered flag? And he has the explosions going off at the start finish line. We'll see when we cross the line. It should be around 8 minutes remaining, shouldn't it? Or just over. And it takes a minute 50 on average. 1 minute 40 to do a lap, so that's around 5 laps in normal time. You've got the couple additionals at the end as well. So there's a 48. That's more like it, Hillman. 49, 48. Here comes the 47. So he's got 7 laps, including this one, before he grabs another victory this season. See if we've been on a successful run. As all see, we're now in 6th. Suzuki finally making a comeback. Or he's dropping down behind the Yamaha. He's coming still got a comfortable gap over those KTMs for a second. We go over that jump, you see a bit wide. No, a bit too sideways there through that jump. And a bit on the rear. For some reason he's allowed to stay upright. You know, we're told you meant to land on even wheels. It's almost like that is an automatic game mechanic there. And actually being a natural fluid one. Go over the jump. Yeah, we're looking very good. As it is Seawell in 6th, and the Frenchman's finally out of 6th. Right up against the barrier, he's down! Even though you just steered the bike normally, you just fell. Just had enough. It's like, this is a new personal best, isn't it, for mistakes in a race too. I can't have that. Might as well equal my previous best of 3. Actually, it is 2, isn't it, from the second race in the Netherlands. So we went back into the 52s. It's not consistent this race, unlike the first. You can see the pleasure in hunting and having space and time. It means you push like a hell. You've got a carrot in front of you to try and snatch and gnaw at and chase down. When you're in the lead though, you're the carrot, you're the one that's being gnawed at and being chased down. Hillman just not as comfortable at that this race. Very up and down performance. And those 3 falls, he went almost half distance without having an incident. Those 3 falls have come in the last 10 minutes. Really is just a loss of concentration. You can't afford to do that if he's close lap time wise to everyone. The moment he's got the edge on this Kawasaki, he's found something with it. But as you saw in Qatar, where he had the pace just about, in Indonesia as well. making all his mistakes. Many fell down the order, just grabbed the top 10 at best in both of those weekends in the second moto and in the first race at horror shows. So he's got to keep his concentration up in these, well, maybe quiet periods in it, it's like, with no one around him, but when the heat's on and you make one mistake like that, as you saw with Jonas in the first race here, certain victory becomes crushing defeat. And it should be crushing defeat for Hillman with the amount of mistakes he's making now this race. Now poised that time, so that's a 51. He should be around 30 seconds ahead of everyone else, that time wise, at the end of this race, but it's only going to be 5 maybe. Maybe 10 if we're lucky. He's not been as good a race as that first one, despite all the incidents he had in that opening third of the first race. All you need to do is combine the opening third from this race, there's other thirds from the first race, then that's the perfect race for Hillman. As you can see, it's closing out for second as well, you saw, out the hairpin. Comes in just there, those KTMs, but they're not being able to do anything about the American in second though. Oh, are they? Covington's down from second. Commentator's curse. Talk about how the KTMs can't do anything about Covington. It's as funny, he immediately pulls down over the jumps. So there's a double KTM podium behind the Kawasaki. Home fans will be happy about that. Maybe not ecstatic like they would for Jonas' win, but on a podium on home turf, that'd be good enough. He's got the Italian in 6th, so Covington hasn't dropped down as far as 6th. He's still in the top 5. Got a feeling it's Patrell in 5th. The Frenchman, I imagine Siwa's just dropped back down again to 7th. For some reason that Suzuki just not working as well in race conditions as it did on one lap in qualifying. As this Hillman back into the 40s. Just 4 laps remaining including this one. It's amazing, you can just look around every corner and see riders going into corners or out of corners. At least in that opening section. In this bar is a bit out of the way, this hairpin section. As you can see, it's very close between the KTM duo. But not like to say who's ahead between Jonas and Prado. I imagine Prado because of the first race performance, but I want to give the home fans something to cheer about with Jonas in second, maybe. It doesn't look like Hillman's going to be lapping anyone. Looks like everyone else is way in front of him after those mistakes. So once again, a bit too much wetty there. That's what led to his first mistake, too much wetty in this section. And on a wide line as well, just couldn't pull the bike back into this left-hander, which has definitely been his trickiest corner on this circuit, trying to get it right. Whether to take it in third or in second, seems like third's better for stability's sake in these conditions. Maybe in the dry you could get away with second. Like you could get out of that final chicane. It's once again a 49 or 48. What's going to happen this lap for Hillman? With 3 laps to go, including this one. You can virtually smell the champagne and see that checkered flag. See the explosions going off as he goes across the start-finish line. But he's still got a long way to go. Anything can happen these last few laps. As we've seen previously as well, we've seen in like Mexico, but once again it was Hillman v Covington. And when just about came out in top in the end. That's when we saw a difference in the last few laps. The time is about to expire over this jump. And we're in overtime now. 2.5 laps to go. A race that's gone very well for Hillman. Been set up by that start. Just like in the first race, if he didn't get boxed in there, Hillman went down. And again, got caught in an accident around these jumps. If he just survived the first lap in the top 10, he probably would have won that race. Could be talking about 4 victories in a row. Second double in a row. Second overall in a row. But instead we're talking about more points taken out of the onus at the top. For what could have been in that opening race again. Seem to be saying that most race weekends still. I know we're only 7 rounds into the season, but it definitely is a theme. So go another 48 for Hillman. Confirmation is 2 laps to go in the bottom left. We've got some French flags raving. As you expect to see round it. Of course, they're home here with Patrell. Maybe in the top 5. You've got a Frenchman lower down the order as well, who Hillman was battling with in the first race. Got the Italian still in 6th. Having a decent overall weekend. He's almost losing the front there under braking Hillman. It's definitely still pushing. It's definitely finally opened that gap up on 2nd and 3rd. You just about see Covington rolling along in 4th, it looks like. We go for that long left-hander. At least in these wet conditions you take a bit more lines than you maybe would in dry conditions. Still, it is generally just one line you've got to stick to for the grip and traction. Isn't it to the right? There's a bit of a vape niche to the right hand side. Massive crowd. Having all their flags. Trying to pick out some. I see a Russian flag as well, which is probably not unexpected round here. Some more French flags. We did bring a large contingent, the French, didn't they? Even in the grandstand they're cheering. Going mental. As we approach the final lap. The second motor, another second motor that's belonged to Hillman. Another 48 as well. He's finally found consistent lap times. Right at the end of this race. Took his time, didn't he? So that 47.4 way back when he took the lead around the end of the first third of the race. And battling with Covington. But since then it's been mistakes from Hillman. It's been inconsistent lap times. But he's finally stuck it all together when he needed to, right in these last few moments of the race. But on the other hand, Covington made the mistake and has let those KTMs by. And now they're battling for honour to be best KTM. Jonas, of course, battling for more champagne on home turf. I'd love to be second behind Hillman. Still got the Italian in 6th. Sevillin. That's how you said it. Probably not. Just like all my pronunciations. Big hit and a miss. Go over the jumps. For the final time. Still no scrubs from Hillman in these wet conditions. Not risking it. Even on this final lap. So we got Patrell right up there on the Yamaha. We got the Suzuki Siwa as well. Still dropped back, but not as bad as the opening race. At least on the Suzuki. Interesting to see where the likes of Hunter Lawrence have finished as well. And Olsen, after that first lap, melee. The region getting boxed out, falling down. Well, for Hillman, it's another second moto victory. So after 19 laps, Hillman won by 15 seconds ahead of Prado, who beat Jonas to second. But still a home podium for the home hero. And then we've got Covington in 4th, Patrell in 5th, ahead of the Honda. Fantastic result for the Italian. Ahead of Muse in 7th, Bernardini in 8th, Sue in 9th. What a weekend for the German, a couple of top 10s. Then a fellow Kawasaki in the top 10 with Steri. And Siwa just outside it, along with Olsen. Bogues in 14th, Watson in 16th, Trepepe in 17th. Got Saka in 18th in the end. Hunter's down in 20th. With Leiber in last. As today, Gosso really wanted to win and went for the top. I disapprove. Why are you not talking about me? You know? I decided we'll have to make do this. Unfortunately, Garcia was unbeatable. Bogus, we used to like you. Okay? Why are you not talking about Hillman? So he was ready to let Garcia. Okay, we just hate you, Trepepe. Okay? Hillman's got the rivalry with you. Disapprove all those comments. All talking about Garcia winning. As he does get the overall by 4 points ahead of Hillman. Didn't quite get the double win though. Then Covington in 3rd, Jonas in 4th, Olsen 5th. Used in 6th on the Hasfan. A great weekend for the Brit. Held the Honda as well. And then Patrell in 9th. Bogues ran out the top 10 by a couple points ahead of Bernardini. Has, unfortunately, it's the French one on the Kawasaki right at the back. So in the championship after 7 rounds, it is Jonas leading by 7 points ahead of Covington with Olsen in 3rd, just a further 8 points back. Then a further 6 points back is Garcia. Then a further 8 points back is Hillman. It is just 29 points now, covering the top 5. Then there's a bit of a gap to Patrell in 6th, and a bit of a gap to Siwa in 7th. In Bogues, Lawrence and Iber rounds out the top 10. He's gone through the rest of the field around the top 20 is the American on the Kawasaki. In the top 30 is Gol on the Husqvarna. As everyone scored points this season so far, apart from the South African on the KTM. Has lots of credit rewards and fame as well. As amazingly, Hillman's been dropped by sponsors. MX Tech and Minus. You don't know what you're missing. So this is a transfer window where you can decide whether to change category or compete in and choose a different bike or access customization or choose between various technical sponsors who will give you very short-term objectives to complete during successive races. So for Hillman, he's not changing category. You can guarantee that. So we've got to select sponsors then. So we've got a main sponsor. What about a technical sponsor then? I think that's the sponsors we've lost. A couple of those. You had circuit equipment, bar pad, hand guards. We've only got circuit equipment, don't we? We don't use hand guards. And you got the exhaust. I think we just use the stock exhaust, don't we? So let's change it up, shall we? With this exhaust, I know it gives quite a lot of improvement. Let's just go with the stock exhaust. We seem to be pretty good anyway. I don't think we actually need too many improvements to the bike. That's what about rims and suspension. Just keep that stock as well. Rear sprocket, just keep that. And if MX work, and then brake discs as well. Keep that with Galfa. So main sponsor. We can change this. We kind of like the colours though. No, Trentino. So let's just stick with that. Don't think there's anything else to change. You'll not be able to remember that you can choose all possible technical sponsors to obtain more objectives and a better performing, more beautiful bike. Nah, let's just keep it like this. So next time out, we'll be heading to the Titan Tristi German circuit. As I will not attempt to pronounce that. I've already forgotten from last time. But he'll be going back to a circuit where he's had very up and down results, just like he had in Latvia. But he definitely beat those Latvian demons. Can he beat those German demons next time out? Sound watching and find out then.